Welcome back to Plastic Surgery Untold, the greatest podcast in the world, as voted by us. Today, we're continuing our series of hottest treatments that we're bringing to APS this year. So I think 2024 has so many exciting opportunities. We've talked a lot about the weight loss revolution, but that's not the only thing out there. I think post-pandemic stuff, people are back doing presentations, people are back out in. And so one of the things that can drive people absolutely insane is a little perspiration. You're looking and feeling absolutely fabulous. You start to feel a little moistness. I know people don't love that term, but you don't love the feeling even worse. And so if we can decrease that, I think that's super fabulous. So Brella is one of the most exciting treatments that we're bringing to our practice. And we're fortunate enough to have CEO and founder joining us here in our podcast today. So Nikki, please introduce yourself and talk to us a little bit about Brella itself.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. It's been lovely to visit this practice. I'm Nikki Hunt, the founder and CEO of Candesant Biomedical, the makers of the Brella patch. And we are just delighted to be launching this product with partners like yourselves at APS. And Brella was really founded because, as you mentioned, perspiration is something that everybody kind of has, right? You're supposed to perspire because that's what keeps your body regulated. But some of us have just a little bit too much. And that little bit too much can be so bothersome when you're presenting, when you're, in a white shirt. Sometimes in the wintertime, when I'm all bundled up and I go into bundled up for the cold and I go into a hot room, that's when I start to perspire. So ironically enough, it's as bothersome in the summer as it is in the winter. And the goal of Brella really is to offer a treatment that's straightforward, simple, relatively pain-free, easy to use in the practice. And with a 3 to 5 minute treatment per side, you basically have sweat control for about 3 to 4 months.
Hey, Jenna, talk to us a little bit about why this has been so unique, because it's not the first, anti-sweat, anti-perspiration treatment out there, but really filled a niche because there was a lot of other things out there, but they tended to be very, very expensive, tend to have mixed results, maybe not quite as consistent or involved, repeat treatments at large volumes or injections. So kind of a really, really unique niche that they have filled that really is allowed this to be accessible to a huge variety of people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the accessibility is key because not only is it a very timely treatment, takes less than 3 minutes per side. It is very minimal downtime, minimal pain. You get those effects for 3 to 4 months. And for somebody like myself, the thing is, when you have excessive sweating, some people have it just at baseline all the time. But for all of us, there's some type of scenario where we start sweating excessively, whether it's getting into a room that's overheated, speaking at a presentation, in college, walking from class to class. We all struggle with it at some point in time. I was always struggling with finding the right deodorant that was going to keep me covered in those stressful situations. But I wouldn't have been able to do a treatment that would be a lot of downtime or a higher price point. So this is super easy in and out of the office very quickly. And you get those results for 3 to 4 months with it being minimally invasive.
And really cool because, Nikki and her team has really worked hard to make this from a cost perspective, something that is accessible. I mean, and you're looking at something less than 2 weeks of Starbucks. So if you think about it, if it's really bothering you that much, cut out your Starbucks for about 10 days, probably can pay for this treatment, especially if you get the venti, Frappuccino with extra sprinkles, extra shot, then maybe only 3 days. Who knows? I see some of our bills sometimes, but really, really great that they kind of took a big different perspective to this. How can we make this problem that affects so many people, but make it accessible to everyone that this really bothers? So, kudos to you guys for really taking a different approach to that in this day and age where I feel like everybody wants to make the most expensive thing on the market. And so it's really, really great, especially in some of the economic changing time stuff.
I think you're exactly right. And a key part of what we try to do is that word accessibility, because the way we think about it is everybody sweats and about half of us are really bothered by it. So it's half the population who really could benefit from this treatment, but not everyone has several $1,000s to spend on a treatment. So we really wanted to deliver something and to offer something through the practices that was very affordable and something that you could really add on to your regular regimen to give you that comfort and confidence to be able to walk out in a white shirt, to not have to worry about carrying around antiperspirant in your car, for example. So really giving people that comfort level that comes with not having to worry about sweating.
Mhm.
And you talked about you with your co-founder who built this upon science, and earlier when we were talking, you talked about the simplicity of this, and I think that's something that really has resonated with me, is because it's truly, I feel like when people truly understand a problem or a concept, they refer to it as simple. When somebody starts off with like, it's really complicated, to me that means like they don't know what they're talking about, and like I'm gonna give you a lot of nonsense that makes no sense, and then say it's complicated and walk off. Be like, yeah, complicated. But the simplicity of the treatment, the process, the fact that you actually looked at a problem and then found like, what is the root cause of this? And that's what the patch actually does. And PHO, you've brought this to San Antonio as well.
Yeah. I mean, we absolutely love it in our San Antonio office. Primarily there, I'm seeing a lot of our wellness or skinny shop patients, and accessibility is everything. For me, when I learned and heard about Brella, I loved it because, like we're talking about, it's simple but it's complex at the same time. There's no smoke and curtains. This is how it works, and that makes sense. And it's easy for me as a PA and a provider to jump on and jump into that ship because it makes sense. And then we use it for patients and it works so well. I get so excited, and with my skinny shop patients, treating that excess sweat is just one less thing for them to be self-conscious about. You talk about going out in that white shirt. For my patients, that's the brand new white shirt, one size down, and they don't have to worry about it, and they can be excited, So I absolutely love Brella. It's been amazing in San Antonio.
Because when you're trying to rebuild your wardrobe after losing a little bit of weight, that can be expensive because that takes a little bit of time. So, a few staples, you want to take care of them until you build back up a little bit. Jared, tell us a little bit about the patient experience stuff and kind of the feedback that you've gotten, because we were fortunate enough to be one of the pilot locations. And then, like I said, here in 2024, Nick, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like in the process of opening this up to practices all over the country.
All over the country, as soon as we can.
Yeah. It's been really, really neat to hear patient feedback. Typically what we do, we perform the treatment. Most patients start to see results around day 3 to 5, but I always do a follow-up call with them or in-office visit around 2 weeks. For me personally, the next day I was like, oh, wow, there's definitely a change there. And then the goal of it is to reduce the sweat production, right? You're not going to be completely bone dry, but you're reducing the overall production of sweat. And so as we've been treating patients and we're kind of nearing that 3 to 4 month from our initial set of patients, they're starting to come back and be like, oh, wow, I kind of forgot what it was like when I was sweating beforehand. And now it almost feels like, I'm sweating more, but it's the same. It's just I'm so used to having that decreased production. So they're super happy with it. Very, very simple. I've asked a lot of them, if they're considering treating again. Almost all of them have said yes. So super easy. They're very, very happy. We've treated a few different areas, which is really neat. And then, just really beneficial to all of our patients.
And you talked a little bit about this. Some of the things that our patients have loved is that they can come in on their lunch hour, their break, do this, go right back to work. There's no real downtime in terms of this. People can kind of just do whatever they want to do and get back into life. And I think that's been priceless. Like PHO said, I've lost about 85 pounds on my weight loss journey. So this is one of 2 white shirts that I've got at my new weight stuff. So really got to make it last a little bit, until replace this. So I think there's really a lot of keys that sometimes you don't even think about it. I'm kind of in that cohort you're talking about that, as stuff slowly starts to come back. I honestly have lasted a little bit longer on myself than I think I even realized, but it's just been absolutely fabulous that you kind of forget about it, but those little issues that were problems have just gone away, which is great. Nikki, what else would you like to for our listeners and other providers to kind of know about Brella? Because some of the things that you've made it from a practice standpoint, I'll be honest, is made it very easy. I think I had a friend of mine that had texted me about some device, and he was like, oh, I'm thinking about getting device X, and he goes, but another device, another 150,000, and you guys again have made the barrier for practices much more reasonable, and there's not a $200,000 capital buy and stuff, so practices can actually give something that not only accessibility to patients, but to the practices to be able to offer it to their patients.
100%. That's another key aspect of our product, is that there's no capital equipment. It's a product that you can buy on a one-off basis and see for yourself that it really works, and it's really working across the board for your your practice and your patients, which is really important to us, because a key part of all of the Brella experience is making sure you're taking one of life's little annoyances, one of the things that just bothers you, and just taking it off the plate. And you don't want to add a big expense or a big procedure or a big annoyance to take care of a little annoyance, one that really bothers you, but it's all about trade-off. So we try to make it as easy as possible for people to take advantage of the Brella experience, to take advantage of not having that one more annoyance. I mean, you guys spoke to it, and I feel it as well. You know, you get really used to not having to worry about antiperspirant and wearing a white shirt. Or the thing that used to drive me insane is when I'd put a shirt over my head and I'd get those antiperspirant marks on my waist that never seemed to come off, no matter what I did. And now I can just put on any shirt and not have to worry about it. And it's just that extra little spark of, gosh, one less thing to worry about. And that's what Brella's all about, one less thing to worry about.
But I think it speaks wonders to your company and the confidence you have in the product itself, that the fact that you're not asking, practices to make this upfront, without trial, $100,000 purchase stuff, because you're like, hey, we're so confident in this, you want to order 5, order 5. You want to order 10, because whatever, you feel comfortable with, because you're going to love it and you're going to come back. And so I think that alone, is one of the things that speaks to how you guys feel about this, because you're not worried about it. People are going to love it. They're going to come back. And so they're kind of like us for offering it to our patients. So I'll tell you, we're super selective, because just like you've put your name, your reputation, this is your, life's work for the last, probably
7 years. We started the company 7 years ago, and we got FDA clearance last April, and we started bringing it to market in August. And yours was one of the very first practices that jumped on board. So again, thank you so much for being innovators in your space, because we're a new company and this is a new product, and you jumped on it because you saw the potential, just like we did, to really deliver this benefit that really hasn't been delivered consistently before, and getting people onto the Brella experience so that they don't have to have those little worries about perspiration. And that's our goal, and that's what you're helping us do.
Jenna, any final words? Because we're going to have another segment coming up talking about specifically who's a good candidate for that. So don't go anywhere. There's going to be another episode coming up about that. But any last words before we leave all of your fans?
I think the main thing is that, to your point, this is something that is going to impact everybody. We all sweat. And so just for me, honestly, there are a lot of different aesthetic treatments, but this one mainly is to be able to wake up and not have to have that worry. Because then when I present, I used to be like, okay, well, first off, I'm going to be nervous. I know I'm going to turn red. I know all these things are going to happen, but at least I know I'm not going to sweat this time. I don't have to worry about, because like you said, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Once it starts, it just gets worse. So to be able to offer a solution that makes sense is just really exciting.
PHO, any last words?
No, I love what you said, and what Dr. Franco kind of touched on is it really speaks for itself. I think that you could walk into any practice at this point and say, this is Brella, show me one patient, and then talk to that patient 3 days later, and the practice will say, we'll take all of them, because it's that good. So I'm excited.
Nikki, any last words here before?
Well, first of all, thank you again for giving Brella the platform to really deliver this benefit to as many people as you guys have. And we're thrilled to share it even broadly with more and more consumers who have this little annoyance that they want to get rid of. So thank you.
Awesome, guys. Don't go anywhere. More episodes to come. We're actually going to talk about who's a great candidate for Brella. So that's coming up soon. So Plastic Surgery Untold, greatest podcast in the world, as voted by us. Download us anywhere where you get your favorite podcasts: iTunes, Spotify, Pandora, or you can watch our smiling faces on YouTube. We'll see you guys soon.